What's up guys, everyone is doing well. In this video, before I get into the technical analysis, there have been a few events that have happened recently in the socio-political realm, specifically within America, the United States, that have relevance to blockchain, cryptographic solutions, cryptocurrencies in general, that pertain to taxation in America, the certain protocols and systems surrounding the economic situation of America and things upon that nature. But here first I have this here BBC article where Trump was speaking about this.
At the suggestion of Elon Musk, who has given me his complete and total endorsement. That's nice. Smart guy. He knows what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. It's very, very much appreciated. I will create a government efficiency commission tasked with conducting a complete financial and performance audit of the entire federal government and making recommendations for drastic reforms. We need to do it. Can't go on the way we are now. And Elon, because he's not very busy, has agreed to head that task force. Be interesting. If he has the time, that'd be a good one to do it, but he's agreed to do it.
So here we have Donald Trump, one of the running candidates for the upcoming election 2024, talking about as we can see here, a government efficiency commission that would be run by and headed by Elon Musk if he were to win the upcoming election. He was talking to the Economic Club of New York. This was Thursday. This was at the beginning of September, so it's almost 2 months old at this point. But again, he's talking about conversations that he has had with Elon Musk, given that, as he said, he is recently Elon Musk being a lifelong Democrat, due to the way that, and my intention is not to get political or to start to ruffle any feathers of anybody in their political beliefs, but because of the way that the current administration over the last approximately 4 years in America, the Democrat administration, has been running things and doing various things that have just not been good for the economy, that have not been for the like the blue-collar workers, middle class, in terms of food prices just being outrageous, the inflation, obviously for those of you that are of the working class, and even the lower middle class people within America, you are likely completely and far too much, and you want to be aware of this and what has been going on. But this task force is going to conduct a complete, as he said, financial and performance audit of the entire federal government and make recommendations for drastic reforms. BBC asked Trump if Elon had formally agreed on a role such as this commission, and the campaign senior advisor Brian Hughes said that it is premature to discuss any prospective personnel in the next administration, but we welcome the enthusiasm and support of Elon Musk. Elon Musk then said on Twitter, as he hosted an online conversation, 13th of August, I think we need a government efficiency commission to say, like, hey, where are we spending money that's sensible? Where is it not sensible? And just saying that we need to live within our means, not only as obviously individuals, citizens of a country, the collective, the individual units of a collective society. You need to live within your own means so you can budget your money and, live comfortably. But not only does it need to be done in an individual degree, but it needs to be done on the unity of the collective degree, such as, and by that I mean the government and the entire nation as a unity, as America being represented by the government needing to also live within its means and through things such as taxation, not be taking money from people that are working hard for it, and then with that taxation money putting it towards things that these people, or a certain subset of the entire peoples of a country such as America, don't want. I mean, if you're using money that's not yours in order to do things that people don't want, it's just ethically, morally reprehensible. Now, yesterday, so what time of this recording, so 27th of October, Trump held a rally in New York, and in this we saw Elon Musk speak. Obviously this happened yesterday, and there have been some, as I said, early September, we were seeing some statements and some stuff surrounding this, but it was a little bit more elaborated here, as you'll see.
The Harris-Biden administration has set us up with a $6.5 trillion spending budget on our taxes of $4.5 trillion as they screw our children's future to the wall. We lose $2 trillion this year, $2 trillion. And Donald Trump is going to build the greatest team to ever walk into government, and we are going to balance our budget. And when we balance our budget, the world is going to feel what it feels like to unleash the full power of the United States economy and its amazing workforce. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, I have the honor to introduce the co-founder with me of the Department of Government Efficiency, D.O.G.E, Madison Square Garden. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for the greatest capitalist in the history of the United States of America, Elon Musk.
As you can see, I'm not just MAGA, I'm dark, gothic MAGA. Well, the energy in this room is incredible. What a great group of people.
All right, I've only got one question for you, and then I'm getting out of here because
All
this
right.
is your stage. But we set up D.O.G.E.
Yes.
How much do you think we can rip out of this wasted $6.5 trillion Harris-Biden budget?
Well, I think we can do at least $2 trillion.
Yeah!
Yes.
$2 trillion.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're being taxed. You're being taxed. All government spending is taxation. So whether it's direct taxation or all government spending, it either becomes inflation or it's direct taxation. Your money is being wasted, and the Department of Government Efficiency is going to fix that. We're going to get the government off your back and out of your pocketbook. And America's just not just going to be great. America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing. Now, you guys are awesome. Honestly, this is like... Yeah. I mean, this is the kind of positive energy that America is all about. Yeah.
So here we saw Howard Lutnick, the CEO of the financial services company Cantor Fitzgerald, introducing Elon Musk with regard to, as I was already mentioning, the Department of Government Efficiency, which, as you heard him say there, DOGE, that is the acronym for this department, which is just absolutely hilariously full circle almost. I mean, obviously Elon Musk is involved in this. He was clearly, a lot of people would say he was, at the very least, the number one sole cause or impetus factor into Dogecoin making the large gains that it did during the previous bull market. But here, obviously, we saw Elon Musk say many very important things, such as getting the government off of the backs of the American people, getting them out of our pocketbooks, and implementing regulations, guidelines within taxation programs and things that are already set into place, especially obviously by the current administration. He even mentioning, taking that $2 trillion off, which is clearly, I mean, that's a lot of money and would be very helpful. And again, at the end of the day, as I've said many times, really all this should be taken with a grain of salt. I myself, I'm not a Republican or a Democrat. I just label myself as an individual self that has socio-political and cultural views, and I try my best not to label myself because I feel like it only boxes you in and causes issues. But nonetheless, again, take all of this with a grain of salt. Just because politicians and their supporters, cabinet members, all the people that are under a president or even a running president, obviously everything is not going to be done at the end of the day, whether or not that's because they are lying and they're just trying to get votes, or because they weren't lying and they were actually having integrity in their speech and they just could not get what they wanted to passed for the various reasons of legality and things surrounding that. But here, moving into the technical analysis, as we can see on the 6-hour chart, Bitcoin recently has been performing rather well. So far, you can see that it is finding support along the 50 EMA, the moving average, and its associated band. As I said in the last video, for various reasons, especially these vector candles right here clustered up at around approximately 63 to around 65, 66,000. So far, Bitcoin has hit that around 65 to 66, 67,000 area. Right now it's seemingly finding support. It is continuing to move up, although I will say that personally, just the way this looks right here does kind of seem like it's going to go down a little bit further, perhaps down to the 200 EMA, like I said, somewhere around 62, 63, 64,000. And then perhaps even as further down as around approximately 60,000 with some room for, some wicks or whatever, down to around like maybe 58,000 approximately. But nonetheless, everything right now still looks very good. It is an election year, and historically for Bitcoin, election years have been good for price history, and where it's going to go in the near future. So that's also another reason to think that Bitcoin is more likely than not heading into a last or final impulse of the current bull market. We move in to this daily chart. Now, I've been going over this red resistance zone and this green support trend. I did add this black descending resistance, and these are with respect to this wick right here and this wick right here. These this represents the wick resistance for this descending price action we've seen for Bitcoin for around 8 months, and Bitcoin recently right on top of it precisely, essentially, is seeing this rejection here, as you can see. And again, we still see this vector zone right here, which is around 62.5 all the way up to 64.8, and there's also this small one down at around 58 to around 59,000. So again, more reason to find a logical scenario for Bitcoin to come, logical and technical scenario for Bitcoin to come down to either, as I said, these two ranges. Looking here at this daily chart, again, Bitcoin's coming back up to test this pink resistance, as I mentioned. These are the three resistances, pink, purple, turquoise, that Bitcoin needs to get above in order to solidify moving further towards 100K, towards 150, and even 200, up to 230K at highs, as I've been saying for many months at this point. Also, again, on this daily chart, we do not see the lower vector zone, but we still do see the one around 62, around 65, 66K. The RSI is still below this horizontal resistance zone that Bitcoin has been held under since the beginning of this sideways, slightly downside action we've been seeing for around 8 months. So again, still very important for Bitcoin to get above that. moving in here to this 4-day chart, everything here still looks great. Again, we're just waiting for Bitcoin really to get above the horizontal resistance at around 70K, closing daily or higher candles above that. And the RSI still looks great down here. You can see still slowly, just gradually moving upwards, has this upwards incline. The RSI does here as it moves after seeing a bounce along this, going all the way back to the beginning of 2023. Well, really more around February. There's support here. We look here at this 4-day chart again. All of these trends have been broken except for the horizontal. If we look down here at this RSI period with the Bollinger Bands, it still looks good. Again, having this upwards inclination. It's above the moving average associated with RSI and the median here, as you can see, with the Bollinger Bands, which is great. And again, still just needs to get above this upper horizontal line here at around 62 in order to further solidify that strength of velocity, price velocity towards the upside. Again, this weekly chart still looks great. Really nothing more to add here. Still, again, just horizontal resistance was the last thing Bitcoin's waiting for from the daily or higher closing candles above 70, 71K. The RSI still looks great here as well. Nothing really different. Still just looking as if it's breaking out or just waiting for the final breaking of price structure in terms of this horizontal, as I have been mentioning on these, ascending to higher time frames. Here again, everything looks great. The only thing I want to add for this weekly chart is down here. If we look here at the RSI, you can see that the RSI again is still just moving higher and higher. We're still waiting, as you saw here on this chart and this chart, each of these RSI resistances going all the way back to 15, 16K, end of 2022 for Bitcoin. They've all been broken, but we are waiting for this weekly here to be broken, and it's getting very close. It seems, or at least assuming that things continue here for Bitcoin and Bitcoin continues to gradually move up here, ultimately closing above 70, 71K, especially then moving above 74 to 75K, as that is the wick high for Bitcoin locally within the last 8 months approximately. This is going to be a very strong indicator here, as I've been saying. In this weekly chart, went over this in the last video, very important chart. If you are interested in me breaking down, obviously, this table of values up here and everything else, I want to see that aspect or that portion of that video. Again, everything here still looks great. The new weekly candle close, you can see right here, we're still above the descending resistance of this, again, like I said, this kangaroo market that we've been in, just going sideways with a slight downwards orientation. So for the price on the weekly, still above this. This is fantastic. It could be coming down to test this more solidly at around like approximately 66K, which is towards the upper bound of around 62, 67K range I was giving on the lower time frames. Mainly here, just waiting for the RSI to get above this median here, sitting at around 60 when the last time around, obviously, you see the RSI broke the resistance here, went above that, and that was this final nail in the coffin, and Bitcoin was then off to the races for the second impulse of this current bull market. Looking here at this weekly chart again, really stating the same picture here. Bitcoin is above the descending candle close resistance, still just waiting for horizontal resistance to be broken. Here for this 2-weekly chart, we can see that the current 2-weekly candle is sitting right at the prior candle closes, going all the way back to, basically it's all just sitting around, let's see, sitting around 60, 68, approximately 68.2 is where this horizontal, in terms of where the candles are closing, resistance is sitting. Looking down here, again with the RSI, the Bollinger Bands, this time on the higher time frame chart, 2-weekly as opposed to the weekly I went over not too long ago. Bitcoin is still above the moving average, but it is waiting to cross above the median. As you can see here, it's waiting for that cross to happen for the median of the Bollinger Bands to flip into bullish mode, or turquoise. And then this again will likely line up with when we see Bitcoin closing above the candle closes here, like I said, around 68.2, ultimately then closing above 70K, likely, or at least just moving into 70K, maybe not even necessarily closing above 70K. But all that's likely just going to happen in the same bubble of time when we see this RSI go above the median of the Bollinger Bands, and then ultimately really kickstarting this final impulse here. I do want to point out the median here that we can see for this ascending channel, which, as I've gone over in past videos, goes all the way back to June 2017 in terms of its beginning, and it's the beginning, so the beginning of its support, as you saw. But if we look here, the median sits, depending upon, obviously when Bitcoin hits this, it's always increasing. So, I mean, it sits somewhere at around 90 to 100K. And I do think that's going to be a very important range broadly. And I said this months ago in a video that whenever Bitcoin begins its next impulse, which, as I've been saying, seems like we are entering that right now. There's a lot of hope in the charts, and very obviously even within real world scenarios, such as I was going over earlier, that we're seeing Bitcoin initiate this last impulse, this third and final impulse. And I had been saying a while back, 90 to around 130K is a broad range where I think Bitcoin will head out into and find some consolidation before it makes that final move, that impulse up towards somewhere approximately 200K, give or take like $30,000. And obviously I lean towards more so around 200 to 230K for when the next all-time high is going to be, sometime within the first 6 months of 2025. But I mean, Bitcoin, basically all I'm saying here is the Bitcoin, this median could end up being very important over the next few months. So look out for, basically what I'm trying to say is look out for, as Bitcoin starts to encroach 90K, especially 100, and even up to 100 to 20, 30K. From everything that I can be seeing in the charts, it seems to be that that's going to be a broad range where we might see Bitcoin stagnate sideways, consolidate for a bit, similar to it did right here in this region from around January, February of 2023, and also from right here around January, February 2024, which is just very coincidental, temporally speaking. As I've gone over this is what this chart represents. If you've paid attention to my videos for quite some time, you'll understand that Bitcoin topped out here around March, April, and then it topped out here for the second impulse, March, April again. So and then also, like I said, these median points in between each of these impulses, January, February. So as we're leading into January, February of 2025, this could be when we start to see Bitcoin hit approximately $110,000, give or take $20,000. So look here at this 2-weekly chart. Again, this is using different candles, not the Heiken Ashis. Bitcoin's just sitting right at top at the candle close resistance. RSI still looks good here, still breaking out. Again, the 6-month chart here, obviously there's not much really new on this chart, but nonetheless, everything prior considered, this puts more emphasis on this chart being correct, because again, just to go over this, because this chart is insanely crucial, at least in my view, going all the way back to 2010, you can see each time these horizontal lining up with the resistances here, 2 bars outwards from these all-time high. You see the same thing here, leading into the all-time high for 2017, 2021. And then will this happen again? Who knows? I think it's quite likely, but it's definitely not absolutely the definitive case, as clearly has not happened yet. But it seems that there's quite a good likelihood that it will. And then lastly here for the 12-month chart, going all the way back to the halving year of 2012, as you can see with the furthermost on the leftward side of the chart, the yellow dot, then so we have a yellow year, transitions into a white year, then a black year, then a purple again, then the cycle picks up again. This is every 4 years, beginning it again. So the second yellow dot we can see happens at halving of 2016, cycle out 4 more years, halving of 2020, cycle out 4 more years, halving of 2024, the most recent one, and each time we have this yellow halving year. The next year, the white year, going all the way back to, again, like I said, the beginning of first halving, 2012, every single time, 3 times prior to now, the white year has lined up with the all-time high of phase 1 and phase 2 of a overall Bitcoin cycle. So will this happen again? I think, again, quite likely that it will, although nobody knows. I definitely don't know, and I'm not some sort of cryptocurrency Bitcoin glass ball reader or some sort of palm reader that just can see the future, obviously. But anyways, all that being said and everything gone over as always, none of this is meant to be financial advice, and really just meant to be educational content, and here for you to, especially if you're new within trading, cryptocurrency, blockchain, etc., something as a source for somebody to follow along to listen to, kind of get the early on ropes of trading and what certain, the jargon of trading, divergences and, all-time highs and like the acronyms for certain words and, indicators, RSI, stock RSI, so on and so forth. But anyways, all of that being said, I hope you all enjoyed and I hope you all have a wonderful day.
Now won't die. See you forever, start to love.